following program is brought to you in living color.
You are listening to the Liberal Grouch.
People, all going somewhere, all with their own thoughts, their own ideas, all with their own personalities.
Ever since I was a child, all I've ever wanted to be was a journalist, to write stories, to be on the radio, to be an observer of the human condition. Throughout my professional life, in radio, newspapers, and as a writer with the federal government, I've been true to the journalistic ethic of telling the truth, of being accurate, of trying to tell both sides of the story. But I've learned there are people who don't want their story told. In fact, they will do anything to keep you from telling their story. Individually, they are weak, small people who hide in the dark. But when they form a pack, they become dangerous. Not just to the individual trying to tell their story, but to the very concept of a free press. They want their side of the story told, not the full story. And when a strong, honest, progressive voice comes along, one who captures the ears of honest people, it frightens them. It makes them crazy.
Hold the string. Dance to that which one is created for.
They will do whatever they have to do by whatever means necessary to silence that voice, either through legal means or other means. The only thing necessary for evil to succeed is if good people do nothing. I choose to do something. I will stand in the face of this wolf pack of right-wing lunatics until I am either silenced by legal means or until they kill me. They will need to find either some way to throw me in jail for telling the truth, or else there will be blood on the microphone.
Greetings, friends and neighbors. It is me, Bill Schmalfil, the Liberal Grouch. It is Thursday, May 7th, 2015. Tomorrow, my day of destiny. Tomorrow, I go face to face against W.J.J. Hogue III as he attempts to win yet another peace order against me. This time he bravely has decided not to lie to me about the actual hearing, so I will be in attendance. So naturally, since this is the day before the big hearing against W.J.J. Hogue III, we'll concentrate on Patrick Grady and Paul Krendler, who are one and the same, as you know. Seriously, I think after tomorrow's hearing, I'm going to be all done with Hogue. It'll depend on what I decide to do about my current lawsuit against Hogue, if I decide I want to pursue with that or not. But I think this is going to be a very short hearing tomorrow. If I'm home in time, in a decent time, at a decent hour, I'll throw together one of these podcasts and let you know what happened. But just in case, well, you know. Anyway, Paul Krendler, a.k.a. Patrick Grady, a.k.a. Paul Krendler. He is the subject of my federal lawsuit for libel, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and false light defamation of character. I'm sorry, false light invasion of privacy. Yeah, that's what I meant. People supporting Grady have been howling about how it's not libel when someone just expresses a negative opinion about you. And that's true. Here's a question and answer from a libel expert website. Don't I have the right to express my opinion without fear of being sued for libel or slander? Well, yes. As long as your statement of opinion is just an opinion and does not contain specific facts that can be proved untrue. For instance, the waiters and waitresses at Acme Restaurant are too slow and the food is too spicy. That's a statement of opinion. I got food poisoning at Acme Restaurant. That is potentially a defamatory statement if, in fact, the restaurant owner can prove you never contracted food poisoning. So, let's look at some of my charges against Grady, just a very few of them, and we'll see whether they fall under the category of opinion or specific facts that can be proved untrue. He likes to write as me, it's like a parody version of me, which I believe he thinks is going to save him in the libel suit context. It won't. Parody only works as a defense in copyright cases, but he's an idiot, so what can I say? Here he is writing as me. The point I was going to make is I have filed DMCA counterclaims with... I'm sorry, let me do that again. The point I was trying to make is I have filed false DMCA counterclaims with CreateSpace and Amazon. Now, is that opinion? Or is it a specific fact that can be proven untrue? This alleges a specific fact that can be proved untrue. CreateSpace and Amazon have never suggested that I filed false DMCA counterclaims because I have never filed a false DMCA counterclaim. Libel. Writing as me again, because I simply cannot figure out how to finish a book without, what's that phrase? Oh yes, fucking with someone else's stuff. This alleges a specific fact that can be proven untrue. The vast majority of my books contain completely original material, and the ones that copy other people's material were used under fair use terms. It's libel. And then there's the famous picture of me with an uncircumcised penis photoshopped to the top of my head. I'd call that libel. Now, is this an opinion or a fact? Quote, and while the syphilitic catch fart could find the post that John made about that petition, do I have, or have I ever had, this dangerous venereal disease? No. A verifiable fact. Libel. He likes to write as me. He does that a lot. Here again, quote, as a journalist, I stole, summarized, and rearranged a dozen posts from as many bloggers into the so-called book in a desperate, wasted, fruitless attempt to convince someone, anyone, anywhere to ignore my years of cyberbullying others and treat me as the victim of those I've spent years torturing. Opinion or verifiable fact? Years of cyberbullying? Says who? I tortured people? Says who? Stole, summarized, and rearranged a dozen posts? Are you saying I plagiarized and violated copyrights? You got proof of that? No? Libel. Now, this one falls more under the conspiracy to libel category. I don't yet have assent from Mr. Hogue on this, but I offer A.B. a post at TMZ, the Thinking Man Zombie, to publish his documentation of Lardass's military records. I think a simultaneous post at Hogwash would really put his dick in a knot. I'm following at Schmeltdown on Twitter, but he's not following me yet, so anyone who wants to share with him privately, please do. I think the court might reasonably wonder why so much of this man's life is devoted to attempts to make my existence miserable. So let's consider the law for a moment. There are 3 elements necessary to prove a case for defamation. 1, the defendant that is made a defamatory statement to a third person. A blog entry would be considered to a third person. 2, that the statement was false. 3, that the defendant was legally at fault in making the statement. Nobody put a gun to his head. He wrote it on his own accord. He's at fault. And 4, the plaintiff suffered harm. But that's not necessarily a hurdle one must overcome. A defamatory statement is one which tends to expose a person to public scorn, hatred, contempt, or ridicule, thereby discouraging others in the community from having a good opinion of or associating with that person. In the case of words or conduct actionable per se, their injurious character is self-evident. It's a fact of common knowledge of which the court takes judicial notice and need not be pleaded or proved. I think these few elements have made it very clear that I can meet all of those elements, these examples, I mean. Don't you agree? Or don't you? Well, let's consider a moment the finer things in life. Friendship, the love of a good book, and music. The music of the Great American Songbook, for instance. You know, when I dwell on the Great American Songbook, my mind goes to the great American songwriters like Richard Rodgers and Lorenz Hart. Patrick from Palatine. You dope from Palatine. You make a moron look smart. You reek of jealousy. Wish that you could be me. Yet your life is bound to fall apart. Could you like a geek, like a circus sideshow freak. Do you sit to take a leak? Well, take heart. I've tried to be nice to you. Here's some advice for you. Stay there in Palatine. Stay safe there in Palatine. Just stay. Just stay where you are.
You are listening to the Liberal Grouch.
He's Crendler or he's Grady. I know there's something shady. I know that someone's lying about his real name. I just can't wait to meet him, to sue him and defeat him. I'll get him here in Maryland, make him bask in his shame. He's Grady or he's Crendler. I don't know which I prefer. I'm tired of his bullshit, his libel and his slime. I've got him where I want him, and here in court I'll taunt him. I don't care what his name is, okay, he's the guy I'll sue. He's Crendler or he's Grady. I know there's something shady. I know that someone's lying about his real name. I just can't wait to meet him, to sue him and defeat him. I'll get him here in Maryland, make him bask in his shame. Hey, he's Grady or he's Crendler. I don't know which I prefer. I'm tired of his bullshit, his libel and his slime. I've got him where I want him, and here in court I'll taunt him. I don't care what his name is, okay, he's the guy I'll sue. Crendler, or is he really Grady? I tell you that I don't care, okay, he's the guy I'll sue. I just don't care, I'm gonna sue.
There's a package for you at the door.
Gee, I wonder who it's from.
There's no return address, but the postmark says it's from Slovenia.
Golly, I don't know anybody in Slovenia.
Well, what are you waiting for? Open it.
I'm just naive enough to do that, honey. I mean, what else are you gonna do with a mysterious package sent from some unknown person in Eastern Europe?
Well, what is it?
Well, mercy sakes alive. Someone has sent me a bowel movement.
Yes, nothing gets person's attention faster than a bowel movement in a Tupperware container. And here at Post-a-Poop, we take great care to spell name correctly and put correct address on label so poop show up at right person home. It's the new-fashioned way. When you have something to say it with poop.
Honey, do we have a Tupperware bowl we can spare?
Sure. What do you need it for?
Well, it would be rude not to return the gesture.
You're so polite.
Here you go, you crazy Republican bastard.
Make sure you send enough to share.
No problem. I had tacos for lunch.
Post-a-Poop, when you care enough to send the very worst. It's a great holiday gift.
One is wrong because he does right. One is right because he does wrong.
Which of those are you? This is the Liberal Grouch.
Well, I've had some time today to examine and analyze the planning, execution, and then the post-mortem analysis of an attack from Patrick Grady. This is all thanks to that innocent little honeypot that W.J.J. Hogue suggested that Grady create over a weekend. Yeah, it was hundreds and hundreds of pages and posts containing just items I was meant to see in the first place. And now we have a look into the workings of the Grady War Room. The planning, execution, and post-mortem analysis of a Grady attack. Now here we can see for ourselves how the Grady attack machine works. First, Grady announces on the super secret blog that he intends to launch an operation. On January 2nd this year, heads up for incoming fun! Later today, I plan to post at TMZ, Thinking Man Zombie, a little something about Munchausen syndrome, just to see what happens. And then this scuzzball calling itself Colonel Victor Trollpoker, who has an avatar of a Marine with my wife's face in there. Fun is the context that Bill is poisoning Gail, or that Gail is poisoning Bill. Neither, Grady says, neither actually. That would be Munchausen syndrome by proxy. And I intend just to write about the syndrome without mentioning Bill, or his and everyone else's imagination can go to work on it. And Troll Poker says, nice. And then Kyle Kiernan says, make sure and highlight the Walter Mitty-esque features of the syndrome, wherein the sufferer is convinced they are the greatest fill-in-the-blank the world has ever seen. That'll be sure to tweak the behemoth. Then Jane Voter 1 says, this is why you're the zombie, even the zombiest zombie. So much fun, ha 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 ha. And then she asks, quick question. Should we avoid mentioning the freak show, meaning me, or comparing his symptoms to those described, or just post whatever we will? And then she gives them an up-down of a felt down, an update that is of a felt down, which is a meltdown suffered by me, which is pretty much whatever they say it is. Credler writes, personally, my intent is to present a reasonable, objective, more or less harmless essay, and then watch Bill assume I must be saying he's insane. As far as I'm concerned, the rest of you are weapons-free from the moment it publishes. Kyle Kiernan writes, "Yay, me like weapons freeness. It make me so happy." And then Troll Poker says, "Just so you all can watch the fun as it unfolds, I'm going to keep poking him over the imminent arrival of the non-existent package through Monday. Come Tuesday, I will proclaim that he must have learned his lesson from last time because he totally got it and he's pretending he didn't. And then when he freaks out and says he got nothing, I'll insist that I have it on good authority that he received it and he reported it to the U.S. Postal Inspecting Service and they thought it was hilarious. It'll be good fun watching him try to prove a negative. Also, I keep imagining the sense of dread he gets every time Gail goes to the mailbox. I hope somebody actually does send him something, or that, as I assume, two elderly people with limited mobility must do. They get lots of stuff shipped to them through Amazon or whatever. Every package, big and small, is it from the Colonel? I guess we'll have to open it and find out." So what we have here is a covert discussion of an operation to conduct psyops in an effort to cause emotional distress. You see? It's the stated aim of the operation. Colonel Troll Poker, who's, like I said, his avatar has an image of my wife, adds a little flavor by suggesting he will continue to remind me of an upcoming delivery that was never sent to put in anxiety over a potential repeat of the infamous horse feces incident. Grady put the plan into motion on January 2nd, when he posted on his public Thinking Man's Zombie blog an article called Balance. And it's a pretty just straightforward discussion about Munchausen syndrome and Munchausen's by proxy. Okay, so in the comment section afterwards, of course, the part of the attack was supposed to be the commentary following it, right? Not mentioning me. They weren't supposed to let me in on it. They were intended to lead me into a direction that would cause me to think it was about me and launch me into the desired schmeltdown for their entertainment. Of course, when you have stupid readers and don't let them all in on the joke, you can count on at least one of them fucking things up for you, and it begins with a rational, scientific discussion. Ukulele Dave says, "Very interesting. Does it in any way correlate with an inability to form strong, lasting relationships? I would expect this disorder would alienate family and friends." Krendler responds, "Based on the article, very much so. Estrangement from family is common. My guess would be that this is a result of the person pretending to be ill while family and friends see through it." Then in stumbles dim-witted Perry Mason to spoil the fun, as will be mentioned in the private postmortem. His tweet by someone goes real nice with this post. William the Elder at Weltschmerz, whatever. If I were Hogue, I would also pray that the courtroom experience does not cause me physical pain. Interesting. Almost prescient. So the whole thing is blown. Now, I know they're talking about me. I mean, even if I didn't know, I know this is an attempt to pull me in to something I don't want to be part of. Now, Troll Poker valiantly attempted to save the gag from total destruction, Fascinating disorder, interestingly. Some of the research you posted, nope, let me correct that. My eyesight is really for shit. None of the research you posted covered self-awareness. Are victims of this disorder aware they are harming themselves? Or are they so deluded they think the treatments they subject themselves to are actually helping? Like I said, fascinating. And somebody tries to help him. Yes, they are aware they are harming themselves. In the case of Munchausen's, at least, the sufferer is seeking attention. And then, well, it's too late. Rick Buchanan stumbles in. When I discussed Bill with my PD specialist this past March, the topic of factitious disorders came up. So, after a few comments, the effort is abandoned. I didn't rise to the bait, and everyone retreated to the super secret blog to discuss what went wrong. First Colonel Victor Trollpoker writes, "Did you make up any of those quotes? If you did, well done. If not, spooky. I think I'm seeing the flaw in your plan, though. Perry went right to shaky. It would have been better if the commenters went for hours or even days without pointing out shaky. Too bad we couldn't wall off anyone that wasn't in on the joke. That being said, this is awesome." Krendler says the essay is totally straight. Quotes are exact, and I summarize the rest. It was the spooky similarity to real life that drew me to it in the first place. And then Krendler says, I'm not concerned about anyone getting too shaky. It's expected. So there we have the creation, or the conception, execution, and postmortem of an attempt to inflict emotional distress. Grady explains very clearly that is the purpose of this entire failed exercise. I wonder what else I can find on the super secret blog that correlates to something on Thinking Man's Zombie.
I gotcha! You thought he wouldn't do it now, didn't you? You thought that he'd deny it now, didn't you? Now give me what you gotta give. Give it here. Come on! Hey! Good God! Hey! Hey! You taunted me each day on your stupid website. Said I'd be the loser if we should fight. Your life will be slandered, me, dare me too. Yeah. You told me the winner would always be you. Now bend down, down to the ground now, hold it. Don't try to struggle now, hold it. It'll be over soon now, hold it. Come on, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Now squeeze down on it now, hey! Good God, hey! The judge approved it, ha ha, good God. You said there's no way that a judge would approve it. You said that he'd Google me and then he'd say screw it. He saw my complaint and he issued a ruling. I can sue you for free and I ain't fooling. Now give it here. You never should have libeled on me. Give it here. Wipe your eyes now. Give it here. Quit your whining now. Give it here. Come on. Give it here. Give it here. Give it here. Give it here. Give it to me. Good God. Hey. I gotcha. Marshal gonna serve it to you. Gotcha. And you gotta take it too. Gotcha. Give it on here. I gotcha. You thought you'd get away with it, didn't you? Gotcha. I gotcha. Give it on up. I gotcha. Give it on here. I gotcha. You thought you could get away, didn't you? Ha! Gotcha. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, we'll see you in court. You stupid son of a bitch.
Ah, yes, the Liberal Grouch here with you, and I hope you'll visit my website sometime. Let's do that again. www.theliberalgrouch, all one word, theliberalgrouch.net. And my Twitter address is @GrouchyOldLib. So there are two ways you can get in touch with me right there. I really do believe tomorrow will be the last dance with Hogue. Anybody here remember how that started?
Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It shall be my duty as district attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, thank you for attending this press conference on such short notice. As the state's attorney, or as you may know in your home states, the district attorney of this county, it is my sworn duty to prosecute all crimes against the peace and good order of the citizens of this county. And I'm pleased to announce that today we have arrested and formally charged a man with the largest combined number of criminal violations in the history of this county. His name is William M. Schmalfeld, and he's from Elk Ridge, Maryland. And we are going to prosecute him for 353 individual misdemeanor charges. You heard me correctly. 353 individual misdemeanor charges. If he's convicted on all counts, the man faces over 300 years in jail and about $900,000 in fines. What were the charges? Well, two are harassment-related. The other 351 charges are in relation to his alleged violation of a peace order issued by the Carroll County Circuit Court judge.
You mean a restraining order?
No, a restraining order, or a protective order, as we call them in Maryland, can only be applied when there's a domestic relationship involved. A peace order, basically the same thing, but it involves people who are not related.
And how did he violate this peace order? Did he make harassing phone calls?
Did he keep showing up at the victim's home to threaten him?
We noticed there are no assault charges listed here, so the defendant hasn't actually beaten up or harmed the victim. Am I correct?
Well, if he had actually harmed the victim, assault charges would be appropriate. But in this case, the accused kept tweeting the victim's name using the @ symbol in front of the victim's name.
Oh, my God.
Are there any more questions?
You're kidding, right?
No, this is a serious matter in Carroll County. Our citizens deserve the right to live their lives in peace, unharassed by jackanapes on the computer.
Sir,
Go ahead, ask him.
we noticed that when the accused was being transported by the police into your county jail, he was in a wheelchair. Did he get hurt during the arrest?
No, the man has had Parkinson's disease for 14 years and is unable to walk unassisted.
Oh, Lord. Let me get this straight. You arrested a man, he's in your jail, And the charge is 353 counts of tweeting using a man's name after an @symbol.
Well, actually, no, it's only 351 charges. The other two charges are harassment and electronic mail harassment.
Sir?
Yes, you in the back.
Is this an appropriate use of the taxpayers' money?
As I said at the outset, my duty, my sworn duty, is to prosecute all crimes against the peace and good order of the citizens of this county.
Yes, but the man was sitting hunched forward in a wheelchair.
Do you really believe this man posed any actual physical threat to the victim?
Well, he did check the box in the complaint form stating that, under oath, mind you, stating that he believed this Schmalfeld individual presented him with a serious threat of imminent bodily harm or death.
What was he gonna do? Roll his wheelchair over his foot?
Under oath, he must have been telling the truth.
Why lie about
Now,
feeling threatened by a man who can
attitude that
barely
you're
lift his
taking
arms?
is inappropriate for the gravity of this situation. We have 353 individual misdemeanor charges against this man.
Yeah, for using Twitter.
Sir, given this man's physical condition, how much is it going to cost the taxpayers of the state of Maryland to house and feed and provide the medical care this man needs?
Well, that's a matter for the county comptroller, which I assume we have. I'm not absolutely sure, but I'm sure we have someone who pushes those beans and counts them.
Okay, I'm going to ask the obvious question here, sir. What danger did this man actually pose to the victim? Is the victim a little old lady or something?
Why, no, the victim is, well, I can't identify him, but he's a 66-year-old man in relatively good health who uses the computer quite vigorously on his own.
Has the victim been involved in what folks call a flame war on Twitter with the accused?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it goes all the way back to October of 2012 when the victim first referred to the accused as some clown named Bill Schmalfeld.
So the victim actually started the flame war.
Well, in a manner of speaking, I suppose, but the victim did get a peace order against Mr. Schmalfeld and ordered him to stop contacting him.
He got that peace order on appeal, right?
Yes, he did.
After two district court judges told him that there was no clear and convincing evidence that a crime had been committed.
Well, yes, that's the that's how that's how I understand it.
And when the peace order was awarded, did the victim did he stop contacting the accused as well?
Well, the peace order is a one-way ticket, as you will. It means that the accused has to stop contacting the person who has filed and has been awarded the peace order.
Yes, but did the victim live up to his part of this by not seeking any further contact with his alleged harasser? I mean, when a woman or anybody actually who files a protective order or a restraining order against somebody feels threatened by that person, isn't it sort of bizarre to seek out that person and continually taunt and harass that person and then file charges if the person responds?
Well, I'm not here to discuss hypotheticals.
This is not a hypothetical. uncle, sir, this is what happened according to the records we've been able to look at. The victim, as you call him, wrote hundreds of blog entries and hundreds of these Twitter tweets about the accused in the months after being awarded his peace order.
That is neither here nor there, and
Aren't you feeling a little bit silly right now, sir?
Wouldn't justice be served by just dropping these charges and not making us have to go back to our newsrooms and file reports about a district attorney or a state's attorney or whatever it is you call yourself, putting a nearly 60-year-old man disabled with Parkinson's disease in jail for the crime of tweeting?
This press conference is over. Well, now that we're putting the Hogue matter behind us and we're going to try to concentrate on getting justice against Patrick Grady, it just seems like fussy old Aunt Busybody Hogue has to stick her nose into it. It's like he can't be happy unless he's involved in something causing me pain. Oh, it would be nice to have to wonder why fussy old Aunt Busybody Hogue is sticking his feces-smeared nose into my lawsuit. It would be nice, but I don't have to wonder. I know why. Old fussy Nancy Nosy Noodle Hogue knows that it turns out he lied under oath about not knowing that Paul Krendler was the nom de blogue of Patrick Grady. Brett Kimberlin may seek perjury charges against him. It was at Brett Kimberlin's peace order hearing against Hogue for his smarmy, leering commentary about Kimberlin's daughter that he was asked, again, under oath, who Krendler was. He said, under oath, he had no idea. I haven't had a chance to ask him, under oath, but that'll change tomorrow. Poor old fussy Aunt Busybody Hogue. She should have known that I would have a way to enter into evidence the relationship between him and Krendler. She should have known that after placing certain facts into evidence, facts directly related to the seeking of a peace order against me, that I would ask him under oath to reveal Krendler's true identity, and then I would use the proof, notice I use the word proof, that I have in my possession, that establishes beyond the shadow of a doubt that he knows Patrick Grady and Paul Krendler are the same person. Then we get a copy of the court transcripts from the hearing tomorrow, and then we use them as evidence in our lawsuit against Hogue. Did they teach hole digging at Vanderbilt? He's just doing such a splendid job of it. Speaking of holes, either Krendler has deluded himself into thinking I won't follow through on my federal suit against him, or he thinks he has some sort of secret weapon that he'll deploy at the last second. Counterclaim? You got to file an answer to the complaint first, and the court hears my case first. So what could be another one of his tricks? Motion to dismiss. No, on what grounds? Fatal error? If the fatal error was out there, there'd be no harm in rubbing my nose about it. I'd know about it, right? So that's out. Okay, Grady isn't Krendler. If he could establish that to my satisfaction, I'd drop this case tomorrow. But it would take more than just his say-so. He'd have to identify and verify the person or persons currently running the Thinking Man Zombie blog. There's just too much evidence, too many similarities, too many coincidences going all the way back to 2010 to demonstrate that my allegations are not correct. If Grady is counting on Hogue and Aaron Walker for legal advice, thank you, Jesus. If he showed my complaint to an actual lawyer, that lawyer would immediately file a motion to dismiss outlining the reasons why. He would have to be able to establish that I'm wrong about the identity of the person who called my wife a truck stop whore and said that I was syphilitic. He certainly could not argue that those are not libelous statements. So his current cutesy boy tactics make no sense at all. Hogue's interest, obviously, is to keep Grady happy and quiet. Grady could spill the beans on the forged letter. Grady's testimony would open up a whole can of worms that Hogue would just as soon stay closed. Now, if I were a crime novelist, I would say it's in Hoggie's best interest if somebody dies here. Of course, the most obvious candidate would be Grady, dead men tell no tales and all that. Hoggie would be the prime suspect if I woke up at room temperature, so that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. Hogue has invested a lot of time and capital, wasted his relationship with his wife and son in his pursuit of Brett Kimberlin and me. I believe he's committed crimes that'll come to light as these cases unfold. I also believe Hogue doesn't have the money to sustain his permanent warfare against me or Brett. It'll be interesting in the discovery phase of these trials to see the bank accounts, the transfer of money between Hogue and Grady, between Hogue, Grady, and whoever else. Is Hogue smart enough to be running this show? I have serious doubts. I think it would take someone like Breitbart to keep this many plates spinning without dropping any. And if there is someone above Hogue, someone pulling the strings to make his puppets dance, well, the crime novelist scenario says, the safest way out of this for whoever is actually running the operation is to cause an accident for Hogue and Grady and stick the blame on a patsy. This whole thing has gotten too fucked up to sustain. Whoever masterminded it had to do so with the belief that I would fold and not fight back like I have. As Hogue has written on his blog, things are happening behind the scenes. Stay tuned. Oh, yes. And something else happened just today that I'll tell you about in a moment.
Looky here, boys. We got us one of those prostitutes.
Oh, you know what the guards are supposed to do?
That's right.
It'll go a lot easier on you, honey, if you just lay down and accept the fact that you're about to be pounded to death by handfuls of rocks, okay?
All right, everybody, get your rocks over here. We got a pile of rocks. Come on, get them. We're going to stone the whore.
Who is that?
Without sin, cast the first stone.
Yeah, like he said.
That was the first one.
Mother, you know I love you with all my heart, but sometimes you really yank my chain. You are listening to the Liberal Grouch.
Okay, we all remember earlier, it was in November, that's right, that I received a Tupperware container filled with what I believed was horse feces. It was properly investigated by the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, and they said that they have had dealings with this company in the past, and it turns out really that it's nothing more than just actual dirt sprayed to smell like horse feces. And as a boy who grew up in Iowa and North Dakota, I recognize the smell. Senator Ben Cardin's office took an interest in it when I included him in an email that I sent to all of our legislators, law enforcement officials, etc., etc. And I had spoken to a caseworker from Senator Cardin's office sometime in November, shortly before the representative from the U.S. Postal Service Inspector Service called and talked with me. But since then, the only reason I've had to contact anybody was the forged letter. How do I know it was a forged letter? I know it was a forged letter because I didn't write it. I didn't mail it. My wife didn't mail it. It was never in my house. So I contacted all the appropriate law enforcement officials, the U.S. Postal Inspection Service, the FBI, Carroll County authorities, Howard County authorities, and seemed like nobody really cared to look into the matter until today when I received this voicemail message.
Good morning, sir. My name is Vanetta. I am with Senator Ben Cardin's office. I am calling in regard to your email that you forwarded to Senator Cardin. I am the caseworker who was assigned to your case, and I have been working on your case for quite some time. So I'd like to know if you can give me a call at area code 410-962. Thank you.
Well, you damn well betcha I called her back, and we had a nice long chat, and she asked me to send her the information, and this is the information I sent. Thank you so much for your very kind phone call today. As I explained, I've already spoken with an investigator from the USPIS who explained that they are very aware of the company overseas that claims to mail horse shit to people with an anonymous on an anonymous basis. God damn, my eyesight is really going to hell here. Hang on just a second. Let's see if I can make this a little bigger and easier to see for me. Okay, there we go. They have thoroughly investigated this company in the past and have determined the substance is just dirt, sprayed with something to make it smell like horse piles in the barnyard. But in the time since, I've alerted the FBI, the USPIS, and I believe Senator Cardin's office about what appears to be a conspiracy by the same people involved in the horse poop caper, as it shall be forever known in the history books, to frame me with a forged letter to make it appear as if I had violated a peace order, no contact order. This involved the writing of a letter, the tracing of my signature from another document, the mailing of the forged letter to a Maryland resident who mailed it to the holder of the no contact order, who entered the forged letter into evidence at a contempt of court hearing, which found me not in contempt. Two of the individuals are from Maryland, one is from Illinois. Here's a copy of the email I sent to the FBI's Baltimore office more than a month ago. I have yet to receive a response. The subject of the email, sent April 5th, Would the FBI be interested in an interstate conspiracy to fabricate evidence to frame a person in circuit court? Here are the bare facts and some supporting screen caps. A. Patrick Grady of Palatine, Illinois is angry at me for my response to a foul, profane comment he left on my blog. B. Patrick Grady begins making thinly veiled death threats. He does this on company time and on company equipment. C. I report Patrick Grady to his supervisors. D. Patrick Grady sends me a picture of Mr. Bill getting his head sawed off. E. I contact Palatine Police, who send an old friend of Paul Grady's out to chat with him about murder being bad or something. F. Patrick Grady makes more veiled death threats. G. I file for a peace order in Howard County, but I decide to let it die on the vine because Grady does have a wife and a disabled adult child. H. Grady is now writing on a secret blog calling himself Paul Krendler. That's the FBI agent who gets the top of his head sawed off in the Hannibal movie. I. W.J.J. Hogue III of Westminster, Maryland, a member of a gang of right-wing old man thugs, takes out a peace order on me for sticking my nose in the gang's business. J. W.J.J. Hogue takes out a contempt petition against me for a pingback from my blog to his. K. On his blog, Hogue posts a brief audio clip, tells his readers it's me on the voicemail, inviting myself over for Thanksgiving. It's actually a small portion of a pre-recorded prank on www.prankdial.com, a fact he does not reveal to his readers, allowing them to believe I violated the no-contact order. L. On his secret blog, Grady asks if any of his readers live within an hour's drive of me. M. George M. Howell of Germantown, Maryland, volunteers. Grady emails instructions. N. 2 days before the no-cause hearing on the contempt petition in Carroll County Circuit Court, Hogue posts a copy of a letter he alleges I mailed him, a violation of the no-contact order. O. At the January 30th show cause hearing, Hogue introduces the letter into evidence to Carroll County Circuit Court Judge Thomas F. Stansfield. I demonstrate the signature is a forgery. Having had Parkinson's disease for more than 15 years, I am barely able to hold a pen. It's impossible for me to sign my name twice in the same way. The signature on the letter was traced from the peace order petition I took out against Grady earlier in the summer. Having not posted a copy online, the only two people who had the copy would be Grady and Hogue, who posted most of the petition, but not the signature, on the blog. P. The judge turns down the contempt petition. To sum up, I'm accusing Patrick Grady, William John Joseph Hogue III, and George M. Howell of conspiring to create evidence implicating me in the commission of a crime, presenting that evidence in court, and lying under oath. Grady is now involved in a campaign to get his readers to send as much information as they can dig up on me. I stumbled onto his secret blog on March 28th. My presence was noted and the blog was taken offline, but not before I screen capped as much as I could, and most of the blog is gone now from Google Cache, but it was there when I needed it. And I include a bunch of the evidence, including the letter, including the envelope. The look on his face when he presented this in circuit court and I proved it to be a forgery was priceless. Anywho, moving on. Let's see here. I know the FBI has far more important crimes to prosecute, But is there any justice for a disabled Vietnam-era veteran, a retired GS-13 writer-editor with the National Institutes of Health with stage 4 Parkinson's disease, who just wants to live whatever time he has left in peace and dignity? Thank you. And I continue to Miss Edwards at the Senator's office. This harassment continues from this faction. Tomorrow I have to travel to Westminster yet again to answer another bogus peace order that Hogue is trying to take out against me. I've filed suit against Patrick Grady in the U.S. District Court in Baltimore, alleging defamation per se, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and false light invasion of privacy. The matter will be heard by U.S. District Court Judge Richard D. Bennett. I give him the case number. I have a lawsuit pending in Howard County Circuit Court as well, but these are civil torts. I've asked law enforcement in Howard and Carroll County to look into my allegations. I got a court commissioner in Howard County to file charges only to have her to decide later the same day the charges were not warranted. The same thing in Carroll County. The USPIS and the FBI have not responded to my most recent letters. It's damn difficult to get justice for criminal acts when your law enforcement agencies won't even investigate the allegations. And then I included the pages from my application for statement of charges that I think very well lays out the crime. How can a rational person review these documents and determine that there's no probable cause that a crime was committed? I know I did not write the letter. My wife knows she did not mail the letter. I don't use my printer to print envelopes. It chews them up. And I cannot write my signature twice in a row the same way. Add to this mix my 15-year battle with Parkinson's and the fact that my wife of 25 years is in the final stages of her 18-year battle with limited cutaneous systemic sclerosis, otherwise known as scleroderma, which does not spare her from the taunts of Patrick Grady. He wrote on his blog this morning that my wife is a round-heeled mattress-back trollop with such a deep and desperate itch that she took the same true gentleman, being me, back to her place to do the unmentionable. This sort of harassment has been going on and on and on, and the only relief in sight is the sweet release of death. Even then, I suspect these people will plant lawn chairs around my grave so they can taunt and abuse my corpse. Please, can anything be done about this, or must I endure? Thank you again, and thank Senator Cardin for his interest. Well, I did get a little response anyway. She wrote back and said, let me find it here. Hang on. I received your email and will contact you once I review it. I hope you have a wonderful day. And it's just, standard. I'm not expecting a whole lot out of this, but it would be nice. It would be really nice if somebody would hold these people to account. Somebody make these people answer for what they've been doing for the last 2 years. I can't do it by myself. That's obvious. So what are our law enforcement agencies for, if not to protect the people they are sworn to serve and protect?
From where I am, she beckons. She's beautiful. I fear her not. She promises rest. No more pain. No more shuffling. No more falling. She wants that for me. I want that for me. But not just yet. Not yet. And she doesn't seem to be in all that great of a hurry. She tells me it's okay. She'll be there when I'm ready. She knows I have things to do. She knows I still wake up in the morning and know who I am and where I am, and can still get out of bed, stand on my feet, grasp my rolling walker, make my way to the living room. My beautiful wife is always up before me. We smile at each other. We hug, we kiss. 25 years, and I love her like the day I met her. I roll into the kitchen and dole out my morning pills, washing them down with a pint of Ensure. Gail takes my office chair back to my bedroom office. I roll down the hall to the bedroom, park the walker by Gail's bed, take a few shuffling steps to my chair, settle myself in, and see what fresh hell awaits me on the emails from the night before. I'm not well liked, it seems. There's a segment of the right-wing blogging community that's hoping for that day where I no longer log in. They hope that today is the day when that gauzy lady standing by the grave takes my hand in her cool white hand and leads me to eternity. I disappoint them by logging on and checking out what happened during the overnight hours. I look at the blogs of those who wish me ill. I see what fresh outrages there may be. On Mother's Day, one of these people sent me a tweet suggesting that my mom, who died in 2013 at the age of 82, was famous for her service to the Marine Corps. And he didn't mean any sort of combat-related commendation. He's a scumbag. This is the sort of thing deemed acceptable by the right-wing Christo-fascists who populate the blog of a certain right-winger who has done more than anyone else to grease the slope between where I stand to where the gauzy white lady waits. There are days when I think I'm busier now than I was before I retired in 2011 from the National Institutes of Health when I worked as a writer-editor. The Parkinson's disease with which I was diagnosed in 2000 wasn't keeping me from writing. It was keeping me from commuting. I stopped driving in 2009, and every day on the MARC trains and metro meant putting my life on the line as people pushed and shoved and jostled me to where I would sometimes fall. Falling is one way that parkies die. That and aspiration pneumonia. Like I said, I'm just not ready yet. Let's meet our exquisite little inconvenience. Parkinson's disease is caused by the death of brain cells that produce a neurotransmitter called dopamine, or L-DOPA. It's responsible for the smooth transmission of signals from the brain to the body parts. If your brain is working okay, the body gets the signal. You walk without thinking about it. Each step follows the next. But when, they think about 80% of the dopamine-producing cells have already died, you begin to notice you have a problem. The smooth transmission of signals. That's over with. Think of a bomber control tower giving orders to a squadron of bombers. Prepare to release bombs, but be on target because school and hospitals are nearby. The transmission is garbled without the dopamine. The pilot hears, "Release bombs on schools and hospitals." Chaos ensues. And it never gets better, it only gets worse, and it will get worse. Something like 30 to 40% of folks with Parkinson's do not fall into the tremor predominant group. They fall into the postural disability gait disturbance group. That's the group I'm in. And yes, I'm going to die. There's no getting around that. I was 45 when I was diagnosed. Living into my 70s seems like a pipe dream. This past year, I've stood in the face of a right-wing cabal that recognizes the fact that stress can kill a person with Parkinson's disease. I will meet the white lady, the gauzy, beautiful white lady. I'm not afraid of her. I look forward to the cool touch of her hand on my forehead, and for an end to all pain. But we've got work to do first. And then we can talk about the other stuff. Are you ready? Let's go.
You are listening to the Liberal Grouch.
That's going to wrap up this edition of the Liberal Grouch. I'm Bill Schmalfeld. I do appreciate you dropping by. Again, my website is www.theliberalgrouch, one word, theliberalgrouch.net. That's how you get on there, by golly. And my Twitter address, my Twitter handle is @GrouchyOldLib. Again, that's all one word, @GrouchyOldLib. Well, this is Thursday, May 7th. Tomorrow is May 8th. It's a Friday, and at 10:30 in the morning, I'm supposed to be up at Carroll County District Court answering up to WJJ Hogue. Again, I predict it's going to be a very short hearing, and I'll tell you all about it when I get home. In the meantime, have a great day, be nice to people, and remember, if they can fuck me, they can fuck you too.